Hey, everybody, welcome back to another Daily Drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones. Topic today, as we promised all week, Carolina basketball. We've got tons of football coverage. We're not running from football. You guys know that if you've been around long enough, you know we've got a crap load of football coverage as well. But basketball starts next week formally. Season opener Monday night. Elon in town, 9 p.m. ACC Network. Cannot wait to be there to see the first phase of what this team is going to become, and I think has a chance to be really good. But how good? What is the ceiling, the best case scenario for this team? What is the worst case scenario for this team? That's the topic of today's Daily Drop. I'm going to go into both in just a minute. Quick reminder, for just $8.33 a month, which is a drop in the bucket these days, you can be a Tar Heel Insider too. Member of our site, our community, TarHeelIllustrated.com. The message boards are worth it alone. There's so many smart posters in both sports. People know a lot about recruiting as well. It's really worth it for that alone. Then you throw in all the premium content that we have, which we have a lot. You would have known about stuff going on around the basketball program here in the last couple of weeks. If you were on our board, if you were on the premium board, you know a lot about what's going on with football. Lots of very interesting conversations, and people are constantly asking questions, and I answer everything that's on those boards, as do other members of our staff at THI. It's just $8.33 a month, and you can also gift it to somebody. 1-year sub, $8.33 a month. You can be a Tar Heel Insider too now, so you go ahead and take care of that. And also, while you're at it, subscribe to our channel if you haven't, our YouTube channel here. Hit the notification bell so you get updates every time we upload, and tell your Carolina friends that we are here as well. Tell them to come to this channel. Tell them to go to our site. You can't lose. And go to Twitter, @Heel Illustrated. If you're not following us on Twitter, @Heel, no S, Illustrated. All right, best case scenario, worst case scenario. I'm going to start with the worst. Close with the more positive, I think. What is the worst case scenario for this team? Now, I've seen them in person, both the Memphis game and Johnson C. Smith, seen him practice, talked to him a couple other times. I don't have a midseason feel yet, but I think I have an idea what this team can be. Now, some stuff's going to have to go right for them to be that team. But they're going to be good. At the minimum, we know they're going to be good. But how good? Or how just good? Meaning, what is the worst case scenario? Okay. When you look at the schedule, which is very difficult, they have 12 non-conference games, because when they play, by playing at Hawaii in addition to Maui, the game not on the continental 48 states actually does not account against their allotment of games. So they're going to play 32 games in the regular season. They get 12 non-conference games. So when they go to Hawaii, they play in Honolulu at University of Hawaii first. Excuse me. Then they go over to Maui and play the Maui Invitational, which is going to be grueling. They could lose a couple games there. They could lose 3. Don't think they'd lose 3. They could lose 2 for sure. Likely lose 1. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. I see them in a worst case scenario losing at Kansas, playing well, but losing at Kansas. That's a very, very difficult task. Then I also see them losing in Maui. Let's remember UConn's there. And you know they're going to be damn good, even though they lost some guys. Then where else will another loss come from? Worst case scenario, at home to Bama. And I say that because Bama's really good, really talented. And Bama is going to embrace the way the Tar Heels want to play. And maybe Bama's longer. Maybe they dominate the rebounding. Remember, this is worst case scenario. I could see the Tar Heels playing well and losing that game. And by the time that they host Bama in early December, they could have 3 losses. But they could have 3 losses to teams that could win a national championship. I mean, Kansas is 1 right now. Alabama is, 2 or 3? I haven't looked at the rankings in a while. And UConn's right there. They could lose to 3 of the top 5 teams in the country by the first week of December and have 3 blemishes on the schedule, but still feel really good about things because of how they play in those games and what they can learn from those games. All right, staying on worst case scenario, ACC record. They got Georgia Tech in early December. Then there's a break, and then New Year's Day, they pick it back up at Louisville. And then they finish things out into early March when they host Duke in the regular season finale. So I have them in worst case scenario going 14-6 in the ACC, with the losses in worst case scenario, and I have to keep saying that because someone's going to say, man, you predicted them to go 14-6 in the ACC. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is worst case scenario. I see the losses in the ACC in worst case scenario coming at Louisville, at Wake, at Pitt, at Duke, at Clemson, and home against Duke. I'm not predicting them to lose twice to Duke. I'm talking worst case scenario. ACC tournament, Thursday loss. So that means 9-3 outside the league, 14-6 inside the league. And a Friday loss at the ACC tournament, so 1-1 at the ACC tournament. That's 24-10 heading into the NCAA tournament. And I would see that as a 5 or a 6 seed, depending on how the league is viewed. It's been woefully underregarded the last couple of years and people probably won't learn from their mistakes and learn their lessons, but that would probably be a 6 seed for Carolina. That's worst case scenario. Now the best case scenario, lose one non-conference game, either one of the three, at Kansas, somewhere, there's somebody in Maui, and then home against Bama. I think most likely, if they only lose one, would be somewhere in Maui. Remember, this is best case scenario. 17-3 in the ACC. Losses at Wake, at Duke, and at Clemson. Win the rest. Best case scenario, ACC tournament champions. So if they lose one outside the league, that means they go 11-1 outside the league. They go 17-3 in conference play. That's 28-4. They win the ACC tournament championship. That's 31-4 going into the NCAAs. They'll be a number 1 seed, possibly the number 1 overall seed. That's best case scenario. So we've got worst, we've got best. So you know what's coming next. What's in between? That's probably what's most likely. So what is that? 10-2 outside the league. I already told you what I thought the losses could be, so take 2 of those. At Kansas, against somebody in Maui, home against Bama, or maybe twice in Maui. I would think at Kansas and to somebody in Maui, beat Bama at home. They'll play really well that night. So 10-2 outside the league. 15-5 inside the league. I noted the 6 losses before, so take 5 of those. So say they beat Duke at home. So it's the first 5 losses when I read of 6. Well, at Louisville, at Wake, at Pitt, at Duke, at Clemson, then they beat Duke at home. 15-5 in league play. Lose in the ACC championship game. So that's 10-2 outside the league, 15-5 inside the league. That's 25-7. And losing the ACC championship game, that's 27-8 going into the NCAA tournament, probably a 2 seed. And Raleigh's one of the sites for the first weekend. A 2 seed probably keeps them in Raleigh. A 1 seed, absolutely they play in Raleigh. A 6 seed in worst case scenario, no way they play in Raleigh. And the South Regional is in Atlanta. So if they can be a 1 and start in Raleigh and then have the regional Atlanta, that's big time. That is best case scenario. And of course, go on to San Antonio, which is site of the Final Four this coming season. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think their worst case scenario is? What do you think their best case scenario is? And do you believe that they'll fall somewhere in between? And let me know what that is. Go ahead and throw the numbers out. Give us the predictions, whatever you want your ultimate in between to be. I'm not saying that that's my actual prediction. I'm just talking about best case, worst case, and here's in between, which is most likely. I'll actually have my predictions on our site with the rest of the staff's predictions. In fact, this podcast, this drop is running Friday. We may have already posted this because I'm recording this a couple of days ahead. We may have already posted our staff picks for the season. Then you can see my actual prediction for the record. I haven't done it yet. So I'm not 100% sure. So let me know what you guys think. Best case scenario, worst case scenario, and most likely selling in between. Once again, remember, sign up to our site. If you have not, $8.33 a month. You could be a Tar Heel Insider too. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here. Hit notification bell every time so you get notifications every time we upload, which is constantly. I'll be in Tallahassee this weekend for football. I'll be in Chapel Hill Monday night for basketball. I'll be at Fog Island Fieldhouse next week for basketball. It's a busy, busy time of year, and it's a blessing to do this. I love it. And I love when you guys respond and give me your worst case, best case, and most likely. I'm excited to look forward to see what you guys have to say. I'm AJ, and I will see you from Tallahassee when I do 3 things with Chelsea after the game. Thanks for stopping by.